If that doesn't work, is there a plan B?
There is no plan B. The Bassmaster Elite Series tournament is here early May. There's a shad spawn going on, and my whole my goal, my whole outlook for the day is gonna be within the first 2 hours. We're gonna have clouds, we're gonna have a little bit of rain, some wind, complete shad spawn, like all my eggs in the shad spawn basket. There's no secret, it's a shad spawn deal, and I'm making the same cast on each and every point. And as long as I keep seeing these schools of shad following my swim bait back to the boat, I'm going to stay on the spot. Once I start seeing the shad leave, then I'm going to move to the next one. It's a real specific type of structure that those big giant 4, 5, 6 inch shad spawn on. And I've got like maybe half a dozen of those places. I'm just going to rotate through. I had a good practice. It seems like every bite I had was 6 to 8 pounds. And that's a mix of post-spawn and pre-spawn. So it's kind of a run and gun shad spawn deal. The first 2 hours of the day, if I could get on these spots with no one on them, no guides, no Elite Series guys, and rotate through there, throw the big baits, nothing less than 6 inches long. I'm throwing 6 to 9 inch swim baits, top water, wake baits, the whole gamut of California swim baits out here on Lake Fork. I mean, look at my deck. I mean, show them. We got swim baits, big baits. Oh, I mean, I'm not throwing anything smaller than 6, 7 inch swim bait. If they're there to party. So all you got to do is pull up to them, make a couple casts on each spot, and just rotate through them. So see how it goes.
State of Texas.
Here
Chris,
we go.
Could you do us a favor, Chris? We just saw a still of that big one. We need you to catch one live now that we have you on camera.
Oh, I don't know. We caught a few. I gotta look at my scorecard. I think I got 2 7s, 2 5s, and I'm looking to cull one like 3 pounder. So I left this spot where you guys talked to me earlier, fished around a little bit, and I came back to it, and I caught those 2 big ones. So 7 and a 5, a 7 and a 5 on 2 separate occasions. So it's got to be completely weedless. 7-aught hook, when that fish eats it, boom. Troll car hook exposed, fish comes to the boat. So same bait, same gig, same thing I'm doing, and that bad boy right there. When they eat it, they hit it so hard. It's not even funny.
Chris, you are the puppet master of swim bait fishing. You got to fish with Lee Livesey here before our cutoff. What did you learn from him?
Yes, dude, I learned a lot, and yesterday at the meeting, I had to thank him because he showed me the light. I mean, he showed me what to look for.
No, I mean, we didn't run any of the same stuff, and we both talked about what he was going to run, what I was going to run, and he found his stuff on his own, and I helped him out with what goes on, and he caught them good. I hope. I don't even know what he caught. I know he caught 30 something. So I hope he catches them every day and wins. But
He would not tell us what the light was.
Yeah. My buddy Lee Livesey, he guides out here. I was fortunate enough to fish with him before the cutoff, and he hopped in and he says, Zaldain, you're a big bait guy, throw your bait across this point right here. And this was pre-spawn. I'm like, oh, that's an ugly point, and I throw my bait across there, 6, 2 casts later, 7, a couple casts later, 8. I go, Lee, I'm like, dude, that's like the ugliest point I've ever seen. He goes, that's what they set up on here. So I got to give a shout out to him because, all through practice, all I did was look for spots just like that. And I found several of them. And it all depends on what the wind's doing and how the wind's blowing and what the water conditions are. And that'll determine, which one I'm going to start on and then end on. But I mean, if you look at my graph and my trails, it goes from waypoint to waypoint all over the lake, and I'm concentrating on those wind-blown clay ugly points. So, and there's not a lot of guys doing it, so I like my chances.
Had a giant day today. Time to get Zaldangerous. From Texas, Chris Zaldain. 30 pounds and 10 ounces today. Unbelievable, Chris.
But those first couple hours, those are huge. So I'm just gonna stay focused and keep doing what I'm doing. Just a couple rods on the deck and just have fun with it.
Well, I imagine 30 pounds and 10 ounces is a whole lot of fun. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
So day one, we just weighed in 30 pounds, 10 ounces of Lake Fork bass. I had 2 7.5 pounders, I had 2 512s, and my small one was 4.8 today. I lost a 7 or 8 pounder doing what I said I was going to do, and that's throw big baits, real specific pattern, and just that's those real shallow clay banks. I mean, that's the deal. That's what those threadfin shad are spawning on, and they're big 4 and 5 inch threadfins. There are some gizzard shad cruising around, so I think bait selection is a big deal. A couple of guys were fishing some of the areas I was fishing, and they weren't getting the bites like I was. So you know, the combination of the right size bait, the right size profile, that 6-inch mag draft I'm throwing, perfect, matches the profile perfectly, and then the presentation and angles at which I throw those across those points, that is the absolute key. I figured it out a little more today, so this is my 4th day on the water here, and I feel like I'm getting more and more dialed in. So the only thing we have working against us is later on in the tournament we're gonna have more sun. I'd like to see more clouds, more rain, more wind. The nastier the better. It keeps those big fish up there on those points feeding on shad, spawning shad longer. But whether it's sun, whether it's clouds, you have to capitalize on the first 2-3 hours of the day, period. And after that, it is slow, and I'm sure, you know, the guys on Bass Live today, I'm sure it was slow for them, just like it was for me. So I tried to find a backup plan today. I had 30 pounds pretty early, and I tried to go throw a frog shallow. I tried to find a backup plan out deep, and I'm going to continue to do that. So once that shad spawn swim bait bite is over, I still need to work on a backup plan, and I've got 3 days to do it. Yeah, here we go. This is our first spot here. It's a shad spawn spot. And I noticed the water has come up, you know, 3 inches or so. So on each and every point I fished today, I could fish just a little bit shallower and shallower on it. On paper, and I mean, looking at it, the rising water should be better for the shad spawn. It's just, you just got to cast right on top of those points there. I'm throwing a giant topwater here. This is a mega bass, mega dog, giant. I mean, 12, 13-inch bait. But with all the gizzards, you know, thread fins and gizzard shad and white bass cruising around, I mean, you gotta trigger the biggest bass on that. It's like 10 or 11 inches. The biggest bass on this point, and it's a total timing deal. Like yesterday, I rolled up here and had a bite or two, then I went somewhere else, and then came back to this spot, caught a 7 and a 5, left this spot, went and fished around, then came back to this spot, caught another 7 and a 5. So it's all timing. I'm gonna keep on, you know, changing up baits, and caught a couple on on a normal sized topwater this morning. I got three on the card. Could go for a little more wind, but as long as we got clouds or wind, we're in good shape. What we don't want is slick sun. So most of my damage yesterday, actually all of my damage, came on a swim bait yesterday. And I noticed, you know, as I cast up to that shad spawn point, all, you know, like a school of shad. It looked like an Alabama rig coming back to the boat with my swim bait. So I just kept making the cast, and it, you know, as long as there was shad around my swim bait, I mean, we were in business. Chris Mitchell's bad luck. I mean, you said it. You said it. I had 3 little ones when Chris was on me, and then he left, and I catch a 7-7.
We had some tough service here, but take a look.
Big one. Giant. Stay on there. Stay on there. Big one. Stay on there. Stay on there, girl. Stay on there. Stay on there. Look how quickly things change. Stay on there. Stay on there for me. Oh, stay on there. Yeah!
Oh my God.
how things change, baby. Whew. Sitting on 3 little ones in a score on the scorecard. Like, got it.
No, I just weighed in 14.1, I think it was. Stuck with the game plan. The windows of opportunity to catch these fish right now are so small. Very, very small windows, and you'll see that with my weights, Keith's. So the heavy hitters, Lee and Chad Pipkins, who's leading it, he had 30 and 30. Those bite windows are so small. I just talked to Chad. I mean, he caught one spot, you know, catching them quick. And that's how I caught him yesterday too. So knowing that, you know, there's 2 ways to do it. You sit on one point and wait for them to get active on it, or you run and gun points and try to fish as many spots as possible and hope to intersect them when they're feeding. And that's what I did today. That's what I'm gonna continue to do throughout the tournament. If my timing aligns, I know what they want to bite. I know the angles on each and every spot. I'm just gonna keep rotating through. And in my mind, that's the only way I know how to catch a 35 to 40 pound bag. And I've done it before. So, you know, there's none of this, you know, going into the pockets and throwing worms and stuff like that. I can't do that. And that bite's tough too. I mean, I did it in practice, and it's tough to do, just going down the bank in some pockets and getting bites. So the only thing I know how to do to catch big ones is throwing the swim bait across these points, hope for a shad spawn. If not, I'll just chase the wind. I think, you know, the thing that's going to change things the most or affect day 3 and day 4 the most is going to be the weather change. It looks like we're having a weather change. Maybe a little bit of sun pops out. Got to capitalize on those little windows.
Big fish.
Big fish. That's what he says. That's John Cruz.
Three o'clock.
Go back to back.
Hey, God.
Texas Bass champion Drew Benton. Already won Elite Series win earlier this year, just 2 events.
Here we go. Here we go.
He is the CEO.
Sitting in 8th. The top 10 have cameras in their boats. I think it's going to go down today. I mean, we've had an off day. Look at all the spectators here. This is Lake Fork, man. There are so many 7-pound bass here. This is Toyota Bassmaster Texas Fest, man. Game on. Two-time winner. Let's make it a 3-time winner, man. We need 30 pounds today.
They report it had been going pretty slow for him.
Exactly
Might be
right.
a white
Chris
bass.
Zaldain, really, this entire tournament has focused on a topwater bite and a swim bait bite. And he said the 2 keys to making this bite happen: wind and clouds, both of which we have 0 of today.
Look at that. That was a good one right there. Kind of turn things around a little bit.
Just a little update. We just got done throwing a frog shallow, caught a 3-pounder. Then I came up in this mid-depth range, 8 to 10. Basically, wherever I've had those swim bait bites, where the wind was blowing onto these points, I just backed off a little bit. I just caught a 4.5, and then I just lost a 3.5 or almost 4. So I think I kind of have the pattern and what to look for. Just throwing a big, oversized, medium running crankbait. Dives 8 to 12 or so on 15. But now that's 2 for 2 on spots. I mean, I just caught again 4.5 and then just lost a good one. So I'm gonna do this the rest of the day. Although it's slick, calm, and sunny, they're not biting a swim bait. There was no shad spawn this morning. I relied heavily on that the last few days and through practice. So I'm just gonna roll with this mid-depth range and throw this giant crankbait through. I think we could come in with a pretty big bag because that's 2 for 2 and it's all about confidence. I'm confident in doing this the rest of the day.
Well, huge day 1 for Chris Zaldain. And that would be the last he had of a really good sort of run of big fish here on Lake Fork.
If you've been hanging with us on Bassmaster Live all week long, we talked about it. You know, really actually Chris Zaldain hooked up right here.
catfish.
Well, it's the second catfish we've seen today.
Yep.
Yeah, day 3. Right off the bat, when I opened up my phone this morning, finally got reception. I was looking for that. I was looking for that forecast, and I was hopeful. I wanted those clouds and that wind, and we had the complete opposite.
It's time to get Zaldangerous for Chris Zaldain.
Sunshine, slick, calm. There goes my swim bait bite. There goes the shad spawn. You know, the shad spawn wasn't there. That sun was already way up in the sky by the time we blasted off, so.
18-15 as of today gives him 63-10, just outside the top 10 and 13th, but a great event for you this week.
I still ran through all my stuff, all my shallow shell and hard clay bank bars. And I saw some shad in the area, but they weren't up there flickering and spawning, and that's what you need for that swim bait, and you know, grinding that swim bait by. And I stuck to my guns. I stuck with it. I know I could be real stubborn with that thing, but you gotta be, you know. And when you catch 30 pounds on Thursday, and you catch 7, you know, caught a 7 on it on day 2, and I weighed a 7.5 today on a big bait, and I stuck and moved. I kept on moving around, and unfortunately the conditions just didn't really pan out for me. So I knew that if that sun popped out and it got slick, I was definitely going to be in trouble. So, but Lake Fork's a fun lake. It's a small lake, so you can bounce around. You can cover the whole lake in a day, no problem. Yeah, again, a big thanks to Texas Parks and Wildlife, and I said it on stage. I mean, every license that's sold, every fishing license that's sold, whether you're non-resident or resident, you know, you buy a license and you contribute to the conservation of bass and the Share Longer program, and these guys do a great job at it, and it shows on Lake Fork, man. There's so many 7s out here. I said it yesterday. There's so many 7s out here. It's unreal, and Brandon Cobb catches 11-pounder a day in May. So just unbelievable fishery, and I'm pretty proud. I mean, 12th place. I'll take it.
Looking back, would you change anything?
Yeah, looking back, the only thing I would have changed was, you know, and it's hard to do in practice because we didn't have these conditions. But looking back, I would say I just practice for, you know, when the sun, when the sun pops out and it gets calm. I mean, maybe fish a little further off these shell bars, and that's kind of what I did today. But too little, too late, you know. But yeah, maybe I should have spent a little more time idling around just the faces of these points a little bit more, finding little sweet spots. That way I don't have to do it, you know, when the conditions occur. No, man, it was awesome. It was fun, man. Whenever you play that top 12 in Texas, you know you're catching big ones, and I did just that. I mean, 30-pound sack, got it all on camera. That's just unbelievable. Only in Texas.